Hello, my name is Ralph and welcome back to the channel. It's my time, let's go. Today we're going to start work on the shovel project again. We finally got caught up on all the other things that we had to do, I believe, as best I can. And now we're going to look at this shovel. And we're going to start tearing this motor apart and finding out, we've already found that a few things are wrong with it, like the oil hole and the timing plug. And there's a few things like that we have to address. But today we're going to start tearing this motor apart and getting down to it and seeing what's inside. And then we can figure out a direction to go. So that being said, let's get on with it. So first things first, we get the seat off. And we'll get the battery disconnected. There's no need of it being connected now that we're going to get into this. And we put the screw back in it so that it's there when we need it. Okay, now I'm going to start by getting some of the things out of the way. Off. Off here. Let's start by getting the oil gauge off of it. We need to grab the bottom part of it here, like a 9/16, and we're also going to need one for up here. So it's important that you hold the bottom one here before you undo this. If you just try to give that a crank, you can strip things, break things, and we don't want that to happen. So we hold the bottom nut secure while we try to loosen the oil pressure gauge off of it. There. We're going to have to take the oil pressure gauge off first. So again, we're going to hold the piece that we're putting pressure on. And we're going to untighten the gauge. That out of our way. And this one came loose with the fitting. So I think we can probably yeah, we can just screw that out, get it out of our way as well. Now when we pull this off, there's a small spring in here and a filter. So this small spring and filter is what goes in there. We'll take our tiny little 12 point here and start to loosen the lifter blocks off. I like to go around and loosen them all off evenly. Either taking them off or tightening them up. Get one of these little magnetic work plates together here to put all the small parts in and they stay there. Long little screws in there. Little tap. All it takes just to loosen it up. And we've got our lifters tied up in here so that we can just pull them out with the whole block. And there we go. And the lifters have all come out in one piece with the block. And this keeps them together because it's important to know what lifters go in where when you're going to put it back together. Overhead. This one takes the feed up to the top of the motor. Loosen it up here. There's little rubbers at the top and at the bottom inside the thing, so just wiggle it around a little bit. break them rubbers loose and you can slide it up or down. This one is quite long. Some of them are pretty short, so they pop right out, but I want to avoid bending it a whole lot. We just want to blow these. Keep any unwanted debris out of the way. Remember that we put the rocker box back on, put that back in as well. Now we get our exhaust out of the way. Go. This is the brace up here for your carburetor. It bolts on to the back. Get the top lines loosened up. Up. Whole thing's moving right in the head there. We don't want that. Put the skinny one on the inside of the one that's on the head here. I'm just going to break this one loose. There we go. Same with this side. A lot of times these top ones have to be put back in when the rocker boxes go on and you set your heads on. Trying to put them in afterwards, you got to bend them all to pieces in a lot of cases. So we don't want to have to do that, and we'll probably see that when we pull the rubbers off, although this one has come right out. So sometimes they will, and sometimes they won't. Just go around here and loosen the carburetor off. I always leave the top nut in place, loosen it off, but don't take the threads right out of it, and get the bottom one out first. That way your carburetor won't fall off when you're working on it. Loosen off the throttle cable so we can get it disconnected. And with the left slack in the cable, we can lift it up right out of the holder and push it to the side. And that way we can unhook it from the carburetor itself. You just don't want to come out there. It's always that little bit. There we go. Once the carburetor's off, we can take this off. And as we take it off, we'll note that inside there is an O-ring on it. And that O-ring faces into the manifold. On the back of the carburetor as well, there's an O-ring here. So this side with no O-ring goes against that. The O-ring side then goes in against the manifold. It's a small little detail, but it could cause you an air leak there. So we're going to get the ignition out here and disconnect it in any places that it's been tie wrapped down. Following it around here. There's one there. Okay. And we'll check our wires over here. There, we can take that right off with the cam cover now. Kept all my screws in one container so I know where they are. So we'll try again, pull this off. Now we're coming down. Now we're getting to her. And the next thing we're going to do, and they look like they're small. So I would expect from everything else here that these are 78, 80 up heads, I think. These are the rubber band sort of manifold on it. It's a little bit hard to tell right there, but once we get these off, we'll be able to see. They're just very tedious. Half a turn, half a turn, half a turn. Just in a bad spot. Whoever's put them on there wasn't thinking much ahead about getting them off and probably didn't have any fun putting them on. You always try to leave these out somewhere, and it's nice to be able to put a tall, deep socket on it to get them out. Otherwise, you're a long time here trying to get a fine thread screw that's an inch long, inch and a half a turn by half a turn. Just gotta get them moved far enough that I can get a 7/16, or well actually it's a 3/8, skinny little 3/8 socket down in there. Would save me a world of trying to unscrew it. So today I'm just going to take a minute and tell you about my newest acquisition. I like to buy tools when I can, and tools are very expensive these days, and it makes them, you have to pick and choose what you buy and how much you'll use. Over the years I've done a lot of wrenching, and we all get into places where you can't reach, and you just, you can get the socket on it but you can't move the ratchet. I've looked at these and looked at these and looked at these, and this week they went on the Black Friday sale, whatever, $100 and something off, delivered to my door. So we're gonna have a look and see what we got. I'm excited. One thing somebody told me in this day and age, which is ever so true, is that if you're going to invest in tools, in battery powered tools, good ones, there's lots of cheap ones on the market and such, you got to make a decision as to what you're going to buy. There's different brands like Makita and Roby. Canadian Tires has their own brand. Oh, nice. Canadian Tire has their own brand, Mastercraft. But whatever you buy, you want to stick with, because in the future there'll be lots of accessories made by these quality companies that are going to be around longer than I am. So let's see what we got. I'm looking like a nice charger there for one. That's the charger for the other one. So there's two different chargers for two different batteries. Sorted paperwork for sure. The beauties now, a little small adapter from 3/8 down to 1/4 inch. Just like Christmas. I can't believe it. I never take these kind of things that I should have for myself, and I've always used an air impact, and it serves me well. But the things I've heard about these, I don't think I'll be using my air impact a whole lot. Just the convenience of it. Put it on, it's reversible, back and forth, off it comes. I'm excited. But this is really what's got me going now. And this is this nice little wrench. It's got a little trigger on it there of some sort. Doesn't seem like much there, but when you flip the little switch in the bottom, this is like a lockout. So you can't grab it by mistake. So if you're going to use it, you have to physically unlock it, and then you have the ability to use it. I'm excited. I'm going to put these things on the charger today and see what I can find to take some bolts off. All right. I'm not sponsored by Milwaukee. I'm not a salesman for Milwaukee. I just bought a good quality tool that I hope will last me the rest of my lifetime anyway, and take some of the work out of my wrists. As I've already had carpal tunnel on both wrists done, so I don't want to go through that again. So we'll let you know how I make out. Now we're just waiting. Hell of a buy. Now we're going to see . Wow. Spots you can't get at. on so you know where they are. So we just wiggle it. Go. And there we go. Now we can see that we're our 80s and up style manifold on this, as it's taken the wide band rubber rings. Before that, the 74 cubic inch ones, they just had an O-ring that went between them, around the manifold, between the head. So these are definitely 80 up heads, I guess, or I'm not quite sure where the cutoff is. I'll have to look that up. It might be 78s. Not sure. In any case, we know what we got. Okay, those are loose, those are loose. So we've got a few different things for our shovel heads, and I tried to show them one of our other videos there on, I believe the video was on a single fire wooden start. These help you get in at spots with the shovel heads, and Snap-on makes a great tool like that, which is short. It helps you get in there, especially when you're tightening bolts or loosening bolts. That little shorty really helps with the 12 point. So we're just going to stick that on the end of our breaker bar here and see if we can start somewhere. Not bad. Overly tight. As you can see, this little piece makes it great to get into small spots. The other bad spot is in there, and it's a very hard spot to get at. So I've got a couple little tools that will help me reach in like that. Better yet, this one here. This gets down in and around our linkages and enables us to get at that one, especially when it comes time to torque them up. So, let's see if I can get on that. There we go. And you see how far I can move this. It's got quite a reach. And sometimes to get back in there, if you just take your socket and carefully take it off and turn it one, sometimes it will help you get back just that little bit farther. No, I'm going to try one. There we go. It's too hard to try and fish in there. As you can see, it can be hard to get at. With this little bent head one, I can actually stick it back in there a little bit farther, like where the shift linkage is almost, and still turn it. Definitely the worst of the bunch. Okay, let's see if I can get at it with my little one. It's a tough little spot in there. Makes it kind of rough to get out there. As we're loosening that off, I'm seeing oil saturating stuff, so it makes it kind of hard on your fingers. We are close to the oiling hole there, but I don't think it should be running right out there. Okay, she's pretty well loosened off and down most of the way, but rather than take so much time trying to do something with it, I'm just going to get these other ones out, and then when you loosen the head up, it'll be easier to get the bolt out, I hope. I usually always do the rear one first because it's the biggest nightmare to get at everything. There we go. One down. All right. So we just got 2 bolts for this head. Easier to get at. Put that one on. Filmed up. This one. course, a lot of oil rolling out the bolts as I remove them on the two rear on the back side here. So there is an oil hole there, but I haven't loosened the head up at all. And I'm getting oil dripping out. And that one generally won't come out. It has to be put in before the cylinder goes on. But as you can see, the oil is just saturated there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we'll get my big hammer. We're just going to give it a tap on the rocker boxes here. I don't want to go around the other side and beat on the fins. You can't tap it on the fins, or if you start tapping it on the fins or anywhere like that, you'll break those fins off. So always be very aware when you're trying to loosen it, not to hit the fins or the spigots on here. But if you just give it a tap here on the rocker box, just lightly, let it work its way. There we go. Our oil line has now come out, so we can set that aside. Oh, they're pretty tight with the acorn nuts. She's pretty oily. It's oily all around the oil hole here. It's all saturated, and obviously she's burning oil. It's all saturated around the oil holes here. Okay. Ooh. I can feel the lines in there. Yeah. It's a little messy in there. All right, let's get the other head off and see what we're into. I'll get the bolts loosened off the front head, and as you can see, that takes a little while, and then I'll come back. Okay, and as you can see, just as a note, the 3 bolts, I put them on my hand here, the 3 bolts have come out clean. These are what the 2 rear ones look like out of the rear cylinder. So they're saturated in oil. So there definitely is a problem. So we'll just get the last few out. That one stays in. These ones always have to go back in first because there's not enough room for them there. So it's always something to remember when you're putting them in. The 2 outside ones have to be put on with the cylinders. And as I said with the other 2 that came out, these ones are nice and clean. They're not oily like the rear ones. Okay, 5 out. Give her a little tap. That's all it takes. She's a mite bit oily in there. The exhaust ports are dry, it appears, but it hasn't run for a while either, but okay. Now, she's rusty in there. And we've got a gouge cut right down the back side where I can see. But these are actually little grooves in it down this side here. Now this mark here, all this that you see, this is all oil. All out around here, around the oiling hole, and you can see here where it's worked its straight way in through the head gasket. And that's what's happening. And it's quite oily in there. Quite. But not beyond repair. So you can see where the oil here now is working its way out of the gasket and has gone all up around the hole here. So that would make it smoke really well. Looking down in the cylinder, it doesn't look too bad in there. There's no big scrapes, scores, or gouges in that one, not like there is in the other one. But like I say, this whole area here has been leaking, and this carbon buildup here is easy to see, especially on the front one as well. It was on the way out. So we got the cylinders off and stuff, and no big surprises. I expected the rear one to be bad, and it was. So we're just going to go along and get these cylinders off, measure our pistons, measure our cylinders, and see where we got to go. So what I'm going to do is use my telescoping gauges here and just give me an idea of where the hole size is on these, because we really don't know. So I'm curious. Just take a measurement in here. Okay. $517 on that one. $517 that way. $518 on that way. So a thou out that way on the thrust side. There's so much buildup on the top of the cylinder that I can't get a true reading trying to pull them out. Try to slip it out there. 518. So 517, 18 this way, 518 so that way. So by checking these cylinders and using my telescopic gauges to reach down inside and have a look, I'm getting an approximate value of where we're at, and it looks like this thing's got 20 thou over pistons in it by the size of it. I'm measuring out around 317, 318, which would be pretty close to on the money for a 20 thou piston. So we'll have to get it apart and have a look at it and get some better measurements where I can put my bore gauge in it and stuff and see what the pistons are at and decide whether maybe we can just re-ring it. Something has to be done because she is smoking bad. All right.